Glasses are dirty. Hi pals, this video is the first 3 weeks of my ADHD medication experience. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Enjoy. Okay, so my plan for the starting ADHD medication video didn't quite go the way I was planning. I was going to be more like a daily vlogger type scenario, but that did not happen. So I'm just going to update you this way. For the first few days of the first dose, which is the current planned third of my end dose, I started by taking it with food and with my breakfast in the morning. But the thing is, I find it difficult to get up. Don't really want breakfast right away every morning, so I then started to try it without food, and I had no issues that other people seem to have about struggling to eat in the day, makes them feel sick, that sort of scenario. Didn't really have that for this first week of 18 micrograms. So like the first couple of days, I wasn't quite sure if I noticed the difference. There was kind of a sense of calm, but also a sense of feeling kind of wired. I realised my window of these meds kind of working is about 12 hours, which did fuck up my sleep pattern one evening where I wasn't feeling tired enough for the right time one evening, and then other stuff happened and I stayed awake all night. But that's also just a common thing with me, of like, if something is slightly out of place in my sleep routine, then I just don't sleep. So first 2 days I cleaned the kitchen. I don't mind cleaning, it's just more of like I struggle to clean because of focus and also because of like physical limitations I have. I found that it has helped with some of my pain. Crazy. I have noticed my sinuses being clear when the medication is active in my system. Breathing through your nose, wow. Those of you who don't have any sinus problems are really fucking lucky, and fuck all of you, because I have had disgusting, awful, dysfunctional sinuses my whole life. Who knew it was because I have ADHD and the dopamine function is piss poor in my system. I don't know the exacts of it, but it's something related to dopamine helps norepinephrine work, and that has something to do with mucus production. Something like that. You know, things I'm still trying to learn and understand, where I don't have an incredibly scientific mind. I just have a weird special interest in biology, because it's about myself. My special interest is myself, babes. My first couple of days with that, and also setting up my new laptop, doing all the really, really boring things. I could do them, it wasn't too bad. I have found doing multiple things at once is more difficult whilst on medication. So like if I'm watching a show and I'm on my phone, I've missed I've actually missed scenes in the show, whereas before I could kind of do both. So I guess it's definitely more of like help focusing on one thing. Yeah, I found myself more able to do general productive helpful things in the house as well. Like I said, I've done some fucking cleaning that really like would never be me. But other things like I think I put my clothes away on day one as well, my clean washing. I hate doing that, but I did it. That was like the first thing I did that day. I might have to get up my Twitter because I kept kind of like a track of this week. I have been struggling to be as hydrated as I normally am, or I think it's a bit of that, and maybe stimulants can be dehydrating. So I'm trying to get a bit better again with making sure I drink enough. I have definitely realised, noticed a difference with my relation to food. Before medication, all I could think about was food all day, even if I'm not hungry. And I feel like that's a dopamine deficiency issue, where I just couldn't think of anything else, couldn't do anything half the time, because all I could think of was food for another dopamine hit. Whereas this week has been a lot easier to just do stuff without constantly needing or thinking about food, which is wild for me because I feel like that's been my entire life, has been just constantly thinking about where and when I'm going to eat next. I've always had issues anyway with identifying my hunger, so I don't feel like that's been particularly different. Yeah, there's definitely like a sense of calm versus the chaoticness of my normal day-to-day existence. I'm also just struggling with like a jaw pain flare. A few days before I started this medication, I had my first like TMJ pain attack. My whole jaw was so painful and I couldn't move it. I don't think I've had a heart attack. I think it's literally just my jaw function is fucked. So it's kind of been like an up and down road for this whole week with that too. I don't think it's been any worse because of medication, because I've also heard a lot of people clench their jaw on stimulants. Not really noticed that. There are also some other annoying tasks that I've been putting off for a while that I did in the first few days. So like where in my spare room I have 2 boxes on top of each other. The top box is with the stuff that I have up for sale, and the one underneath it is a box for like stuff I want to put in storage. I put some stuff in that bottom box, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but I still did that and I'm like, wow. They are motivated. I also sat and did a lot of collaging one evening. I sat and reset loads of my fucking passwords that I've been putting off for ages because, you know, Google likes to just leak your passwords all the fucking time. I've had so many passwords that were like needed to be fucking done now. So I did those as well. I personally have self-diagnosed myself with POTS, which is, I don't know what that stands for, but it's like a lot of people with, I can't think what the fucking word is, nice. That hasn't changed. Trying to find the word. That's not changed yet. Collagen, people with wonky collagen, connective tissue, that's it. Like people with connective tissue conditions tend to also have this thing called POTS, which is a heart condition where like standing up or sitting up can make you really dizzy or pass out and things like that and give you like heart palpitations. Low-key, as I'm trying to search up the internet sources to be able to provide them in the description of my video, which is something I'm trying to do a bit more, apologies. I'm looking up the things to do with like norepinephrine and congestion, but this comes up that sounds awfully similar to POTS that maybe I have instead of POTS, because I don't know, my dude. It's like called dopamine beta or beta hydroxylase deficiency. It's a condition that affects the autonomic nervous system. Maybe it's another type of dysautonomia, a thing I have not learned to say yet because dyslexic, which controls involuntary body processes such as the regulation of blood pressure and body temperature. Both things I have like weird fucked up versions of. The signs can be decreased blood pressure, difficulty maintaining body temperature, and low blood sugar, hypoglycemia. I don't know if I have that or not. Individuals with the dopamine deficiency typically experience a sharp drop in blood pressure upon standing, also known as orthostatic hypotension, which can cause dizziness, blurred vision, or fainting. Usually is more severe when getting out of bed in the morning, during hot weather, and as you get older. People with the dopamine deficiency experience extreme fatigue during exercise, also known as exercise intolerance, due to their problems maintaining a normal blood pressure. Other features of the dopamine deficiency include droopy eyelids. The photo is pretty extreme, but I do have like a slightly I have one eye that's a lot droopier than the other, and sometimes you can really see it in photos. Nasal congestion, which is what I was talking about at this point in the video as well, and an inability to stand for prolonged periods of time, which is something I've struggled with for a really long time. Less common features include unusually large range of joint movement, so hypermobility and muscle weakness, which as well I have those too, but could be separate, could be the same condition. But yeah, definitely weird that low-key I have another thing that seems to be similar to something I hear a lot about. But also I know POTS and other disorder somethings are very common among people with connective tissue disorders, which again is something I was saying. But also this seems a little bit too similar / familiar to my experience, so that's weird. I've found that the stimulant has actually helped with my general pulse and those kinds of symptoms. I've also read that that has been a thing being tried, that stimulants, like low dose stimulants, have been used for treatment with people who have POTS. So yeah, like I definitely notice less dizziness and less heart like palpitations or like thudding heart things. One thing I've not seen anybody mention, and I do a lot of research for things I think are going on with me, one thing I didn't see anyone mention is that stimulants also stimulate your colon. I've been pooping. Like, I had a moment of slight concern. I have Crohn's and I'm lactose intolerant, and these meds have lactose in, but I have had quite a lot of meds over the years that have lactose in and not really had any issues from that. So I googled it, and yeah, stimulants can make you poop more. So I was like, okay. Because that was me like, okay, is it my stomach reacting to the lactose in the pills, or is it just me coming off of the steroids? Because I'm now 1 microgram or under of steroids now. Day 3 was where I kind of had a crash. I think my body went into fucking shock that it did so much in the 2 days. So I had to kind of consciously take a break physically to lay down. Because my body only rejuvenates itself when I'm actually laying down horizontally. Sitting, don't help. I need to lay down. But I still did cleaning that day. I kind of tapered off talking about it because there weren't many changes to discuss. I do have some thoughts about maybe if the medication is extending too long, to have like an orange or one of my herbal hibiscus teas in the evening, because I've heard from other people who are on or have been on stimulants, ADHD meds, that can help the kind of come down at the end of the day. That's kind of my first week. I filled in my form. My blood pressure has stayed the same, which is really good. I have to weigh myself every week for their forms. Treatation, I've never heard that spoken aloud, so I'm making it up as I go. Nurse, he is very nice actually. That's the one thing that's made this a lot better, that my last video was talking about how I have not had a great experience with this team, but actually the treatation nurse has been way nicer than anybody else I've fucking spoken to. It's a lot more on it, a lot more clear when speaking to me, sends me all these forms of things to read and look at and blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's been okay. He's also said to like message him every time I fill in a form, which I do, because, you know, I can appreciate sometimes you just need an extra prod to make sure these things turn up. And he said, you know, it sounds like a promising start for this medication for me, and we'll see after this week, because today is day 1 of, I don't know what 18 times 2 is, 36 micrograms of the medication I can't pronounce, Xaggitin XL. At least they know the clothing size I wear. Xaggitin. I think that's the brand as well. I don't think I can pronounce the full name. Methylphenidate hydrochloride. Okay. I love being dyslexic and sick and taking meds. Yeah, anyway, I was saying that he has said that because it's been a promising start this week, it may not even need to be upped hello? I don't know what, second time? I may not need to go above 36 micrograms, basically, depending on how this week goes. But yeah, I don't know, I might let them know that at the end of this week, maybe that I'd like to still try the dose up. I also had like the night I didn't sleep, I mainly watched films because I was just trying to relax, to be completely fucking honest. But I did write 1,000 words for my novel, my work in progress. So, you know, benefits of that. I also put off editing a video until like the last minute, but I managed to get it done relatively easily, quickly, without much pain. And I've also finally done a blog post that I wanted to do, and then started the draft of another blog post. Yeah, I feel like this first week has been like mild changes where I have obviously noticed the difference. My brain still sounds the same. It's not quiet like other people have said they've found theirs to be, and I'm kind of glad. I don't really want my brain to be quiet. I like my brain the way it is. I just want to be able to do stuff, you know? Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at this week. So I will update you in a week's time with how I'm doing on 36 micrograms. Bye. Just starting week 3, we've had a little bit of a change of plan on what we're doing. So week 2, England had 3 storms in a week. That were basically similar to America's hurricane season, so that was really great. I was in agony all week, fucked me up, and that was my 36 microgram dose of my ADHD meds. I think it was day 5 where I ended up messaging my prescribing nurse to say like, hey, the weather has been really bad this week. Basically since like the day before I upped the meds, and it's triggering a lot of my chronic pain conditions to flare. So I feel like I've not really been able to gauge whether the 36 micrograms is any better or different to the 18. Would it be possible to like stay on this dose for another week? And yeah, he was totally fine with that, which was great. I really appreciate the flexibility around my other physical health conditions. Yeah, I've just been having a lot of this face pain still, some chest pain from like the weather. I think I might have pleurisy again, which is like a inflammation of some kind of lining of the lung. And this, folks, is where I was actually starting to have a Takayasu's flare. Really good timing. So happy about that. I had it a few years back, I think, before I was diagnosed with my Crohn's and Takayasu's, and it does kind of come back occasionally, particularly when the weather's been bad. So I've been having a bit of like wheezing at the end of deep breaths and pain when breathing in. So yeah, it's been difficult to really tell, but I have managed to film and edit my video for the week. I think I'd already done my blog post that went up, but then the 2 days where the weather has been a little bit more stable, which was Thursday and Friday, I did like 8 to 9 hours of working on art projects, craft projects that I haven't really had the energy or brain capacity to work on for like quite a while. So that means I've finished 1, 2, 3. I finished 3 in those days, and I've just finally like done the last of another 2 that are like drying over here. But also like I think the fact that I've been able to sit and do organising a lot easier. I've kind of cleared a lot of space, organised a lot of things away, compacted them into smaller containers and stuff like that, that it's also been just a lot easier because like the storage I have for a lot of the art stuff is down here somewhere, and just having like easier access to all those things and knowing where they are, because I just sort of recently done that reorganizing, has really helped. So those are a bunch of things. Like I think 3 out of 5 are things to go up for sale. 2 of the smaller things are like presents for a friend's birthday. So yeah, like I still feel like I've been able to do things that take more mental energy. I have been trying to rest and relax because it has also impacted my body quite a lot. Sitting and doing painting is a lot on my body because I can only do it in bed, and even doing it in bed kills my back and my hips. I dropped the dose to 18 again just for today, just to kind of, I don't know, see if that made an impact on some of this pain I'm in, which I don't really think it has. But then I'll go back up to the 36 for this next like upcoming week. And then I don't know, I don't really remember what I've been doing, because I've all I can remember is being in a lot of pain and the world falling apart. So but yeah, I just wanted to do my update. I've still not felt any kind of sickness with the meds, like no nausea, even when I don't take them with food. I've had absolutely no impact on that. I have had an impact on my hunger and also like cravings, I guess. Like normally I'll know what I want to eat for like dinner or lunch, but it's been a lot more difficult to work that out. And I'm still having a lot of like executive dysfunction around the idea of preparing food. So I've been eating a lot of cereal recently. So I've just put in an order for those shakes I made a video about a little while ago. I've gone with the vanilla and one of their newer flavours, salted caramel. So I'm getting 12 of those. It's still expensive, but I feel like I just feel like I need to do it at the moment to see if it helps. But yeah, I keep waking up in the night with face pain and it's really annoying. So it's either like take cocodamol before I go to bed, or risk it and take it when I've been woken up by it in the night. And that also messes with my digestion. And what I was doing before these meds was having things like oranges, which I can't eat with these medications. So I'm trying to work in that I eat them in the evening when I'm trying to like settle down, because I do sometimes feel like the 12-hour window can be a bit too long. And I feel a bit wired for like a lot longer than I need to be. I didn't do my blood pressure or weighing in or anything like that, because the prescribing nurse said that we'll just leave it until next week. So I don't have any updates on that, except I did do one measurement at one point when I was in a lot of pain, just to see if there was much difference, and there wasn't too much difference. It was a little bit raised on the top and the bottom, but not too much difference from my usual measurements. I actually expected it to be higher because of how much pain I was in. So yeah, that's it from me. Ignore the chair. The blanket does that all the time. It's very annoying. I forgot that I do these check-ins, so I'm doing it. I normally do it late morning on a Saturday, so here we are, 1 minute to 11. I think I'm a little bit hungover, I'm not gonna lie. Do not feel great. So I'm taking it slow. I've also just taken an 18 milligram instead of the 36. My prescribing nurse got back to me this morning. He normally replies on Friday evenings. So he's kind of just asked me some questions. Are the positive effects going to impact on my level of functioning? Do I feel that this dose of the medication is doing a significant job of controlling ADHD symptoms? And he's asking because like if there's no rationale for like increasing the dose again, if the medication is sufficiently effective and I'm not experiencing any side effects, this might just be a good place to stay. So he's said as well, like asking how do I feel about maintaining this dose, and we can keep reviewing for another couple of weeks anyway and like see how I'm still feeling on the 36 milligrams. And he's also said that as I've only been on this medication now a total of 3 weeks, but 2 weeks for this particular dose, there is still time for this dose to show further improvement, which I didn't know. So I just sort of got back to him like, yeah, I feel like I've definitely seen a lot of improvements, both with like my work projects and home responsibilities. Like I'm happy to stick on the 36. Like I've been saying, I think I want to go up a dose to be able to try and compare, but I mean, if this dose still could possibly further improve staying on the same dose, then you know, I'll stay on the same dose and see. And one thing I've kind of forgotten to mention, I think, ever in any of my updates or even on my like Twitter thread, that I don't really get the same early afternoon crashes I used to get pre-medication. A lot of those were more mental crashes than anything. Some days I will still need to like force myself to rest, but that'll be more of a physical need rather than brain fog so bad can't think. So yeah, I've noticed that I don't really have that same early afternoon crash, which was really disruptive to project workflow, and to if I did have like a full or part-time job or whatever that I had to work for a full day, like 8 hours or whatever, that would have really disrupted that. So I feel like I've noticed that, you know, maybe even if I physically need to rest, I could possibly still continue doing mental activities. So yeah, I've just sort of said that that's fine. I feel comfortable staying on this dose for another couple of weeks, and checking in continuously. My blood pressure has again stayed the same. It was actually higher last week than it was this week. I think this week it was the same as 2 weeks ago, which was on the first dose, and I think even that was the same as before I even started the medication, which is really good. That was something I was concerned about. So yeah, that was something I was really concerned about, was like my blood pressure going up. I think it was higher, but even then it wasn't much higher, but I think it was higher last week because I was in a lot of pain with the storms. I do notice that my blood pressure changes with my pain. Yeah, I feel like the one thing I would like to be able to do is either not take it or only take 18 milligrams at the weekends to kind of have more of like a break. I feel like I'm always on. I just feel like my brain is always plugged in. I have been finding it more difficult to relax in other ways. It's bizarre because the difficulty relaxing is different both off medication and on medication. So before being on medication, my struggle relaxing was that I was so brain fogged, but also hyperactive cognitively, that it was really difficult to just like shut the fuck up and like just stop thinking about things, or do it, like being worried about doing things and remembering to do stuff. But I feel like that might ease more now that, because I have found on this medication, I actually can get stuff done a lot easier than off medication, that I think that might ease some of those off medication struggles relaxing. Whereas the struggles on medication are that, like I said, I feel like my brain is always plugged in to do something. I found it more difficult to read on medication, which is very, very surprising to me. So like I feel like maybe like reading was a really big part of me relaxing and having like a mental break. So I in some ways feel burnt out because I've not really been able to mentally rest in the same way, but also still have the brain power and ability to keep doing stuff, even though I don't feel like I've necessarily had like brain rest. I don't really know if I'm describing that well at all, but that's just kind of how it has been feeling. That I think it would be nice to be off or lower the dose on weekends and maybe other days in the week, depending on what's going on for me, to be able to get like more of a full body rest. So yeah, this week has been weird. On my first day of last time, I dropped to the 18 milligrams again because I've been getting weird chest and breathing pains on and off, which I don't think is related to the medication. I do feel like I've been more able to do house related stuff for my mum, also for myself. I'm more likely to clean up, put things away, involve myself more in maybe like cooking or filling up the dishwasher and blah blah. Like these may seem like really like small simple things to a lot of people, but with chronic pain and like fatigue, all of those things have been so difficult for me to do for both motivation and like just physical ability. I think generally I've just noticed a greater motivation to just do stuff, even if it's boring things or not like things I really hate doing, or like things that require more physical effort. Been able to work on and complete a lot more projects. I did post a video a little while back, which was kind of like a life update little chat thing, and talk about my zine that I put up, where I kind of talk a little bit more about how my brain space has been recently with the medication. So you can go watch that, but it's kind of felt a bit like I have now been more focused on getting these annoying little niggly problems done, sorted, started, that I have kind of lacked motivation and creativity of making YouTube videos. I feel like I have had more motivation to do exercises at home. Still not really that much motivation to leave the house, but I feel more like I want to actually do exercising at home, which is new and rare. And I think the biggest part of this for me to say, as like a multiply disabled, chronically ill person, who's also, you know, neurodivergent, this medication has definitely not changed any of those things. I am still definitely neurodivergent. I'm still very autistic. By very autistic, I don't mean like different severities and shit. I just mean that I am definitely autistic still. Like, that hasn't changed. Obviously, I've been talking about it, dealing with a lot of pain still and struggling with those other symptoms of conditions that I have to deal with anyway. I just feel that this medication has made me feel more capable to do certain things, including things like caring for myself and my well-being. I think I said in my form yesterday that it feels like I have more time in a day to actually do stuff now. Like, it doesn't feel like I've run out of the day and done 4 things. It feels like I have done a bunch of stuff most days. And I feel like I am more able to do stuff that actually matters to me now as well. Like, all of the creative things I've been doing recently, I feel really pleased and proud of myself that I've been able to complete a lot of those things. For the most part, I have been brushing my teeth at least once a day, which was like a small aim I have for this year, of like just trying to get into that habit more, to at least brush my teeth once a day before I go to bed. As advised by my dentist, before anyone says shit, he says that the best and most important time to brush your teeth is before bed. I have a really great dentist so far. He's been very nice and understanding of like executive functioning problems, that he, you know, has basically said like, yeah, once a day is better than nothing, you know. Hopefully down the line we'll get to twice a day. But also, I actually floss my teeth, that a lot of people don't seem to do. My mum doesn't even floss her fucking teeth, but like, I have been doing that a few times a week for a while, because it's easier to do that than it is to get out of bed to brush my teeth, because I just keep a couple of little floss boxes in my bedside table, and I have very gaffy teeth, so it's relatively easy for me to work out without needing a mirror and shit. And I know a lot of my problems with my dental health are actually more specific to my gums, which I know is important. Like, flossing helps with things like that, so trying to keep on top of my flossing, my brushing my teeth once a day, like, I feel like those have been going well. It's not a miracle, but it is also a miracle. These are things that I just kind of resign myself to, accepting that, you know, maybe I just can't or won't be able to do these things anymore, or in the same way that other people can do them. So being able to do a lot more stuff that most neurotypical people, and non-disabled people and non-chronic ill people can do, or like even doing the like half version of what these people can do all the time, it's a miracle to me. But it hasn't changed, you know, the fact that I am disabled, I am chronically ill, and I am neurodivergent in like a bunch of ways. We got the mental illness, we got the autism, the ADHD, the dyslexia, and probably some other things, you know. Like, that has not cured me of any of this stuff, but it has significantly, oh my god, mental illness, significantly impacted my day-to-day, and it kind of feels like a relief that I can actually start doing some of these things now, and it might have opened up some doors for me, I guess. So with that as well, I mean, I've been looking at more opportunities, more ways to try and further my work, my career, sort of like, you know, that sort of thing. Kind of work experience, study opportunities too, that hopefully this medication will really benefit those things. Yeah, and I guess we'll see down the line sometime. But so far it's been pretty good. I just wonder what the long-term effects of this is going to be like for me, you know. I am just mildly concerned about how easy the meds will be to access after I'm no longer purely under Psychiatry UK, and it will be under like the GP shared care sort of thing. That will be a problem for another day, thanks. Don't want to think about it today. So I'm gonna go back to doing not a lot. So I hope that was a helpful insight into my first 3 weeks on ADHD medication. I had a bit of a rocky time after this. I think I went up a dose, came down a dose, came off it completely because I was having my Takayasu's flare, and then went back on it again. So my next video will be probably some kind of combination of that. I think I have like 3 more updates and then some more that I just need to sort of fill in myself for you, because I did stop filming the updates after a while. There wasn't really anything new to add. But yeah, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more of these videos. Turn on the notification bell, I guess, too. So you'll find out when the next video is up and live to watch. Like the video down below, helps the algo. And if you have any questions or anything you want to share or say, leave a comment down below as well. I'm quite happy to answer any questions that you might have about my experience so far, what kind of happened. But I do also have a video up of what my experience of getting the diagnosis of ADHD was like in the UK under Psychiatry UK. So go and watch that as well, because that will have more details of that particular process, as well as just my personal experience as a non-binary person in the UK. But yeah, that's it for this week. I'll see you next week. Bye.